Я запустила гру, і мені тут питають: Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both time. Просто, щоб ви розуміли, я запустила гру 2 рази, бо було мало кінцівок з гри. І воно дякує мені за те, що я справді правильний час ставила. Ну, провіряло мене. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 p.m., 12 a.m. and call it a day. But you actually taken the time to set the clock and I appreciate it. Він тобі дякує нам. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. Та. I don't even have any way of knowing if the time you're setting are correct. Tell me what I'll make you. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so corporate, next time you boot up the game, see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Давайте я зафоткаю, щоб пам'ятати, що я маю поставити свій улюблений час. Мій улюблений час – це десь 11, коли ще сильно не пізно і не занадто рано, бо якщо рано, то я втомлена. Добре? Go ahead, pick whichever time you want. Even if it's not the correct time, you're earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. Йой, мені сподобалось з тим дядьком розказувати. А я наступний раз виберу ту саму годину, яка в мене є на...
This is the storm.
Година, яка є в мене на телефоні. Нам головне не вмерти. Бо якщо я вмру, то... Дивіться, мені вже не треба. Підемо? Хочеш... Добре. Добре, ми підемо.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Я не можу цю дверку закрити? Добре. Я хочу. Стоп. У мене є ще шанс на якусь кінцівку. Стоп! Ми кудись проїхали. Ми проїхали кінцівку. Стоп. А ми так їхали? Ні, ми якось інакше їхали. Добре. Але якщо це буде знати кнопка...
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable
2. Ви знали?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
The end is never the end again. Investor Showcase.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you
What
think?
would we
Ultra
just-
Deluxe? What does it even mean?
What?
But the Stanley
You-
Parable 2,
do
now
you
that's an
try
artistic
to
statement
those two?
right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
They're back to doors. А. Один він, два він. The Stanley Parable 2 і The Stanley Parable 2. Вот тут ще щось пише, якась діаграма. New hotness. Old plus past. Boring section of the chart. Cool red section of the chart. О, вони зробили цілу типу презентацію.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
This way to the show floor. Закрито. New features. Типу нові штучки. Автобус приїхав. А, типу. Ні, треба сюди. Ого.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Футболки. Я б купила 1 мільйон копій. Тут є ліфт. Тут є ліфт. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Hear your name in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I
Я
asked
пропустила.
myself, what do players really want?
Я
And of course,
пропустила.
the first and most
Добре.
obvious
Наша
answer
Яна.
is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Це прекрасно. Я боюсь нажимати цю кнопку. Яке він ім'я скаже? Добре, нажмем.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim.
Ah.
But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this
Yeah,
feature.
Jim
Just play
right.
along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Ім'я
I
Настя.
want you to imagine yourself
Добре.
living as Jim. Sleeping and waking
Добре.
as Jim.
Я Jim.
Falling in love and being
Всім привіт, я
heartbroken
Jim.
as
Сьогодні
Jim.
нас летсплей
Seizing
по
all
Stanley
of the
Parable
world's
Deluxe.
possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Ні, я не Джим. Я не Джим, але я нажму на кнопку.
Jim.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Але це ж не моє ім'я. Я тебе просто...
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim.
Не можу
I'm
далі
putting the Jim
нажимати,
button away.
я не хочу.
Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Ну там, я забуду, що я не Насік.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Ну, то, на жаль, я не зможу грати цю гру. Тому поки не вийшло, ми граємо. Red is new orange. Що? Коврики красиві добавлять. New features, new content, new ideas. The button that says name of the player that is playing the game jumps out and if into a hole. Я зроблю скріншот в цій кімнаті. Ідем. Я хочу з тобою пройтись. Може, підемо туди.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12. Which would you go with?
Get well some days, get well some... Ну, мені і так добре. Happy. Давай, привітаємо.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday it is.
Ну та, я добра людина, я не вибрала для себе, я вибрала для когось. О, тут кулька застряла. Добре, але це неважливо.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
О, бачите? Стоп. Секунду. Я щось не дуже розумію. Це... Добре, але ми тут ще не все глянули, хочу тут все. Ми зробили в цій кімнаті скріншот, якщо ви не бачили. Напевно, що не бачили.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on.
Ви можете взяти ігру.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Я вже не можу дочекатися, коли Stanley Parable 2 вийде. А нам відро дають забрати. Коли вже вийде серйозне відро?
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Ми всюди обійдемо. Добре, ми були вже всюди тут.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle.
Цікаво, якщо б я той не
I
використовував.
suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Я думаю, щоб я могла не використати всі. І було б щось, напевно, цікаве. Але я просто не подумала. Я не подумала про те, що я можу не використовувати їх. Settings. Я не можу. Це, напевно, в кінці мені дадуть. Ну, кінцівки досить довгі, я здивована. Куди ми підемо? Get in here. Підемо сюди? Free chime and get pull the lever, receive. Ми в кінці це зробимо, мені страшно. Ну, так ми були. У нас є отуда, сюди. Йдемо зацню. Йдемо от туди, в ту кімнату зацню. Ну, відрець це мій найкращий друг тепер. Зацню. Да, мені цікаво навіть. Неймовірно. Я так багато дізналась за цю штуку. Jump Circle Infinity Hall. Ну, йдемо сюди. Collectibles. Шокані. О.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Що мені треба зробити? Тут закрито. Я наближуюсь, то я полечу до нього? Ні, я йду по чомусь. Круто. Все. Collect them all. Круто.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Тепер мені треба ходити і шукати ці статуетки по всьому. Ми будемо це справді робити? Звісно. Ми підемо зараз в Infinity Hall. You are here, lower level. Там ідемо в Infinity Hall. Це бездонна яма, можна так перекласти. Бо я майже нічого не перекладала тут. Ну, по суті, оці діалоги то з новим контентом перший раз, то там дуже довгий.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Добре, я йду вниз. Я хочу впасти в ту яму. Хоча навряд чи мені дадуть. Це ж ясно. Понятно. Тут тільки в яму.
You see, Isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite?
Давай залишимо цю проблему.
For you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Мені цікаво, якщо ми просто посидимо тут. Трошки посидимо, почекаємо. Добре.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean,
yeah, sure.
I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley.
Bye-bye.
I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Все, він пішов. Але я не хочу перезавантажити гру. Ой. Щось стається, мені страшно. Ми опускаємось. Ми опускаємось. І він знає про це чи ні? Опускаємось. Чи не працює, якщо порозуміти? І наскільки довго ми будемо опускатись? Я почекаю. Наскільки change? Музику робимо.
My head stronger.
Change your reality.
You're no longer using your
Ой.
suspicious mind. My head stronger. You're no.
Change yourself. Меняем еще дальше. Эррор. Насколько мы можем? Я себя отвечаю.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley!
О,
Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there,
Ah, я заснула.
drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so
Я, может,
darn
дальше на карте
fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole. And I'm
Скільки?
looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
є.
Here
Нарешті.
we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Дякую. Ти просто, я не знаю, ти найкращий. Час майже точно такий самий, як в мене був на годиннику. Але відро не забрали, тому. Free new plus easy. I can believe it. Добре, йдемо за achievements. Йдемо.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Якщо буде друга частина. Добре, лишимось без безплатної ачівки. Допустим.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Ми не бачили. Ми наверху не були. Оце ми останнє, напевно, не бачу. О, воно закрите. Тому ми не побачимо. Що ми ще не бачу? Exit. Jumps. Во, ми в jumps. Треба на низ спустити. Я ще не хочу йти, але... Мені просто цікаво.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
Ні.
Ready to move on now?
І він мав би задати таке питання, яке я не можу дати відповіді, бо я хочу побачити ж все. Та й ви, напевно, теж. Але дивись, це ніби той jump circle. Так? Десь тут має бути. Ще щось. А, це ми бачу. Добре, це ми бачили. Йдемо на карту ще розглянемо. March settings. Вот settings ми не бачили. То ми бачили Office Decoration. Та ні, ніби все бачили. Ми бачили все, крім Settings for Champions. Тому можемо йти, бо нас не пускають. Тому можемо йти. Не задавай тупих питань, будь ласка. Диктатор.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready?
Так,
Here it is.
давно.
I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Ми можемо пуститись?
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on,
Don't-
let me do a
don't
different
start.
arrangement.
Там статуетки.
Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Таке собі.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted
Може,
more than
статуетки дадуть?
anything to create a sequel that would capture
Мені тільки
all the
статуетки
magic of the
потрібні.
first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With
Ти думаєш
respect.
так,
With
так
care
само?
for the vision and integrity of the
змінився.
original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Ого! Граємо. Давайте. Граємо, мені цікаво вже.
This is the story of a man.
Шо, ні?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket.
Тут мають бути статуетки. Шукаємо статуетки. Ми маємо пошукати статуетки.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Добре, ми будемо дуже уважні шукати всі статуетки. Я просто типу здалась, бо розуміла, що типу заново почалось, але ні. Це з обновлення.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Може тут статуетка буде. Тому я
Still
як
no
він
one
каже.
was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Що? Нема статуетки.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Двері закриті.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Тут трошки інакше, мені здається. Morning is in the morning, morning in the evening, morning for breakfast, morning crisp. Тут інакше писали. Точно не буде приза. Точно. Але я отримаю приз.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable.
854.
At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk.
Ні, я
Nor
знаю.
in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
2845. Two, eight.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs, trying to input anything, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that.
Stanley
Another
figure.
Stanlerine
Figure.
under your belt.
Знаю, мені подобається. Добре, ми опускаємось по ліфту і просто йдемо, як він каже. Подумаю, тільки по його сюжету ми зможемо отримати всі статуетки.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Добрий день.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery...
А зараз знов та кінцівка добра буде.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped?
Я думала,
Was
це буде
Stanley and the
сама
bucket not
кінцівка.
about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Логічно, що нас перезавантажило.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
А тут завжди висіло. Відро піде зі мною.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Ми підемо зразу.
Stanley clutched the bucket
Там
tightly to
щось
his
створить.
chest and entered the door on his left.
Red room. Нам треба в червону кімнату. Good luck. Все саме буде. Places to cheer. A large room, lots of boxes. Stairs, something to do. Stairs, somewhere both red and blue. Вони хочуть, щоб я збирала статуетки. There will be a reward for what? Я ж знаю, life. Я не знаю, як попасти в червону. Ні, я знаю, як попасти в червону.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Добре, я зараз перезавантажу гру. Але якщо я перезапущу гру... Якщо я перезапущу гру, то вже не буде Stanley Parable 2, напевно.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any
Добре, йдемо
human
до
life.
кінцівки.
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Ми їдемо вниз, і замість того, щоб йти в Mind Control кімнату, ми підемо в Exit. Я знаю, що там буде, але... Якщо виявиться, що там щось...
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Я знаю. Я знаю,
The
що
door
це
behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Я знаю, що тут буде, але просто мені треба кінцівку швидку. Бо я переживаю, якщо я перезапущу гру, то... Вибач,
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently. To death.
Так.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all
щось цього не
buckets are radiant
пам'ятаю.
in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It
цього
was
я
a
точно не
glorious
пам'ятаю.
bucket to behold.
У мене зараз просто... Вибач. Мені аж зараз сумно дуже стало. Аж сльози.
Can you
потекли.
see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life? No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Я просто зараз мовчу, бо мені сумно, і я не
But there
розумію,
is
що твориться.
something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
А,
Let
понятно.
Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if
Мене
only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision of the...
А, понятно. Я могла просто рестартнути на гру і не
All of
переживати.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away
Madame
as Stanley
Za-
embraced the bucket.
Ми йдемо за...
Stanley clutched the
Singing
bucket
butt.
tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Місце
Stanley took the door on his
коробок.
left to go back to
Це ж
the
тут.
meeting room,
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Я бачу статуетку. Просто бути акуратним.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Акуратно, акуратно. Йдемо в вентиляцію. Стоп. Куди ми пішли? Куди ми попали? Ми отримали кінцівку. Ще одну. Ух ти.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Camarada.
Хто така Камбурада? Коротше, на цьому ми закінчимо, бо відео, напевно, довге вийшло. Останню статуетку ми отримаємо в наступному відео, якщо назбирається 120 переглядів. Також пишіть коментарі, ставте лайки і до наступного разу. З вами була Нанась, які ми грали в Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Всім гарного дня, па-па! Бляха, я не знаю, що робити.